Welcome in, everybody, to another episode of 410 Sports Talk. I'm James Haskell, along with my co-host, Glenn Martin, and of course, as always, DK in the background. We are here to talk your Baltimore Ravens as OTAs march on and other things. We got all kinds of updates for you, all kinds of interesting topics regarding the Baltimore Ravens. But before we get into it, we got to talk about our proud partner sponsor. What do we got tonight, Glenn?
Yeah, this episode is brought to you by BetOnline. It is your number one source for the NBA Finals, the Stanley Cup Finals this season. Every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. So if you miss getting your bet in, no worries. You can still make and place bets throughout the game. And when the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on the hand of blackjack, play some poker, unwind in one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today and get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, for 50% welcome bonus to your initial deposit. Bet online, the game starts here.
Let's go. And I tell you what, it's going to be an exciting NBA Finals. Just really quickly, you got any predictions?
You know, it's interesting because it's like I'm rooting for Dallas. You know, I'm rooting for Doncic and for Kyrie. For whatever reason, not really exactly sure why, but
sure.
I think the Celtics with their perimeter defense, the way they can maybe at least slow down the attack of Doncic and Kyrie, who I think are probably the two best ISO players, but certainly two of the best offensive players just in general in the league. It's going to be a tall task. And I love the way they're other guys, you know, Kobe and Shaq always talk about you need the other guys to play well if you're going to win a championship. I love how their other guys are playing, but I think it's going to be a 7-game series, and I think it could go either way here, Jimbo.
Yeah, it's a tough one for me. Really quick follow up to that. What's the strategy on Luka? You think that, I mean, obviously going to throw multiple bodies at him, but you think Drew Holiday's the primary?
Man, it's interesting because I naturally would say I would want Drew on Kyrie, I guess more so, but because it's not like Jalen and Jason Tatum can't, you know, if they want to, can't strap up. So I think
I got some more length. You know what I mean?
Because they're not going to bother. Drew's not going to bother Doncic's shot. You know?
Right. That's the problem.
Other two could at least maybe get a face guard in. But yeah, I think they'll have to rotate and see who's got the. I tell you what, if he's got the hot hand at the end of the game, Doncic's got the ball. Who's guarding him?
Gosh, I think it's Brown.
Yeah. I wouldn't be shocked, though, if it is Drew Holiday. I mean,
no, me neither. Me neither, because he's a savvy vet. He's known for being a defender, but
strong enough to do it, for sure.
Yeah, but the length on the perimeter, I feel like you need it with Doncic, you know. Anyway, it's going to be interesting, and make sure you guys go make some hay over at BetUS. Make yourself some money. But all that being said,
BetOnline.
That's right. BetOnline. But all right, well, let's get into it, Glenn. I know we got some exciting things, some fun things to talk about tonight. Where would you like to start? Dealer's choice.
Well, we always start with who's there, who's not there, and quickly wanted to give you that very quick list here. We did see some newcomers, some guys that we hadn't seen yet this season. Lamar Jackson continues to be at OTAs, which I know is got a lot of people excited to see the leader of the guys there. But as you can see here, David Ojabo, Justice Hill, and Odafe Oweh are all back at practice today. Those missing are the list you see in front of you: Derrick Henry, Rashad Bateman, Justin Metabike, Michael Pierce, Kyle Van Noy, Marlon Humphrey, Brandon Stevens, Arthur Maulette, and Kyle Hamilton. Now, a couple of these guys are injury related, but for the most part, these guys are just veterans choosing to be elsewhere in the voluntary portion of the OTAs. But yeah, it's nice. It's nice to get some guys back who we haven't seen to this point. We heard from a couple guys in the pressers, and they certainly talked about how it was nice to get some of these guys back out there. So yeah, just wanted to quickly go over the who was there, who wasn't there. But Jimbo, I really wanted to get into something. I want to start with, we heard from Justin Tucker, and he talked about, of course, was quickly asked about the new kickoff rules, and he talked about how that could change his role. And he said he's put on muscle. He's trying to get a little bit more physically prepared for the potential of having to tackle the ball carrier. And the reason being is according to his analytics, I guess, about 20 to 25% of kickoffs results in the kicker becoming a part of the tackle. or at least, in some way, whether he's the solo tackle or not, or just part of the scrum or whatever, he's a part of the tackle. And man, that got me thinking, Jimbo, like, what the hell is John Harbaugh going to do here? Because I got to imagine that, like Justin Tucker said, I mean, where do you put tackling on his list of to-dos? Like his priority list,
Right.
it's pretty low, but it's on there. Like you have to be ready to make a tackle if need be. But if you're John Harbaugh, first and foremost, like how do you feel about the potential that Justin Tucker could be involved into 20 to 25% of total special teams tackles?
Yeah, you don't like it. You don't like it. And maybe other teams think differently, but we use Justin Tucker as such a weapon for us, right? Especially at the home game, the crosswinds. I'll never forget, I'm sure you guys remember as well, but Glenn and I went to a Bengals. Was that Thursday night game?
Yep.
The Thursday night game. And we already knew we got the ball back and we were, I think there was like 2.5 minutes left. All we had to do was march down the field and just get on the other side of the 50.
Yep.
And we already knew the game was over. Like we could have just left out. As soon as Lamar ran it and made it past the 50, it was like, well, we can leave now because we know what Justin Tucker is. And so that does make me nervous. I'm not excited about that. It'll be interesting to see how that correlates with injuries into the season and how that impacts the league's choices on this play. So yeah, the other thing I want to pose, you probably have some thoughts, but the other thing I want to pose too is that does this open up a new position for people like on the roster? Like, is there a line for somebody who's maybe more equipped to make these tackles? You know what I mean? I just think there's so many ways you can go about this, but what are you thinking about it?
Yeah, I mean, we've already heard some other teams kicking around that idea. We know the Chiefs have a safety on their team. I believe Justin Reed, I think is his name, who's got some kickoff. Like he can kick the ball. And the unique thing, and I think DK has an example of what this kickoff's going to look like now, and I think it's a good time to throw it up on the screen here because I really am confused, or I'm kind of curious as to how this is going to work out. Because as you can see here from the kickoff, they're not lined up to where they have to run a ton. They're five yards away from the potential blockers, and they're already on the receiving team side of the field. And as you can see here, no one can move until the ball is caught. So crazy. I guess, yeah. So it's like it used to be hang time was such a big thing. It's not how far you can necessarily kick the ball. It's how far can you make it hang in the air and also go really far at the same time. I don't see the necessity of hang time being a thing at all. Like it's all about, can you just get it down into that window?
Or we'll see if the guys get creative. Can you make him drop it in the way the ball spins and the way that the ball, I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to think of anything, right? Because I know that punters work on that, right? Like you want it to be hard to catch. That could be another thing that we start to see coming out of this.
It could be. And we've always talked about quarterbacks throwing a catchable ball. Well, typically not a catchable ball, a duck or a ball that's flapping. That's not easy to catch. And so maybe that's something we'll see. But go ahead and hit play here, DK. Let's see what we got.
Kicker from the 30. Return team lined up at the opposite 30. Can't move to the ball. He's fielding. And here goes Keith Humphrey. And they're going to turn it around. With room on the near side. And for the first time, they get creative. And
it's so crazy to me to see the guys have to stand still until the ball.
It's like a sacrifice fly in baseball.
Yeah.
He stepped out.
Just turn me loose.
St. Louis.
That's insane to me.
So that's one way of doing it. Of course, they used a bit of a trick play, a little bit of a reverse on the return there to get it in. Let's see here. I think it shows the next one.
90-yard kickoff return for a score for the Battlehawks.
The XFL averaging
here we go.
12 points
so this
a game.
is the other one.
And right now they've got 27, having settled down with the change Luis Perez over the last couple of weeks.
That's just straight burn.
And there's Austin Walter. That may be the answer that Dallas
he almost ran out of gas for a second, too.
Takes the kickoff return all the way back for the touchdown.
But something that's interesting is that I don't know this kid, but I'm pretty sure he's a running back.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So it's different. Yeah, I mean, you can tell his build is different. He's not the traditional looking returner.
Yeah.
I wonder what Keaton Mitchell looked like back there.
I mean, we certainly know he has the home run speed.
Holy crap. I also wonder, where do you want to kick the ball? Yeah, so like a touchback isn't a thing, right?
Well, I think it is if you kick it into the end zone. What's the penalty for kicking it into the end zone?
45, DK? 25. 45?
Wow.
So they get the ball on the 45.
So it's almost as if back in the day when they used to kick the ball out of bounds in the kickoff, that was I thought it was the 40, but that was the harsh penalty for kicking out of bounds.
I think DK is going to quickly double check that, but
because then it's like, yeah, is coach just going to have open tryouts to see who can consistently kick the ball between the 20 and 0 yard line on the opposing side? Is that going to become a thing? Because I don't want Justin Tucker sticking his head in there on 20% of these kickoffs, Jim.
No, not at all. No. And I guess it's not considered a touchback, right? It's a penalty. Is that, do I understand that? Or am I also missing? So it was suggested 35, but then they settled on 30. Okay. So DK, what you're saying is then if they catch it in the end zone and they touch back it, they get it at 30.
Okay.
All right.
So I guess what every team is going to do is try and kick it to the half-yard line and tackle them before the 30, and that's a win.
Do you think? Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Do you think at some point teams, like what if teams get so good at this that they're like, screw it, we'll just take the 70 yards on defense? You know what I'm saying? Like they just
yeah. I mean, they could, but coaches they don't want you to have a yard. They don't want you.
And even still, if you kick it in the end zone, you still got to wait anyway. So maybe it's not even that much of an advantage for you to say, well, I'm going to kick it in the end zone and hope that they don't take it out. Like they can still take it out.
We saw in that touchdown, I think.
Right. It doesn't really diminish their chances that much.
Right. Because really, in reality, it just gives you a little more space.
Right. That's it.
To work with.
So that helps the offense as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
This is going to lead to a lot of exciting plays. It's going to lead to like quick advancements in like the strategy and then obvious copycats. And then I think it's going to be
John's got to be on the forefront of this, right? Being his history in special teams. We got to believe that we have one of the best coaches for this, right?
Well, I guess as far as knowing he'll put a certain level of commitment to making sure they're good at it. Yeah, but I don't know how much experience helps you when this is totally different.
Totally different, but I still think that John is good at, the time he puts on it, the strategy behind it, but also identifying the right players within the special teams roles. I think is another, important part of that, value add that John has, being the lens that he's seen the game through for a long time. So it'll be interesting, man. I don't know how it's going to work out, but initially in my mind, I think there's going to be all these high-speed collisions, but everybody's already down there.
Exactly.
Like, it's just wild. It's
and
like
the body size of these guys, who you putting out there?
Right. It makes me think of like, remember when we used to pitch it to, what was his name? Alex Collins, rest in peace. And he would get it so deep in the backfield.
Yeah.
And then he'd, turn on the burner. Like it's almost, it feels like that to where it's just
what's
a race
that formation
to a certain
called
spot.
where the guy's like way back? Yeah. That's almost like it. Yeah. It's going to be, it's going to be definitely growing pains. There's going to be probably, do you think there'll be a record number of kick returns this year?
Dude, a record number? You think so? DK's saying, yeah. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised at all, right?
I think there's going to be a record number. And I do think there probably will be a record number of not have like in a good way, a record number of lack of injuries.
But do you think, I don't disagree with you, but do you think there's a possibility that, I don't know, I'm trying to look at this through all angles. Defensively, is it easier based on the fact that you're already there and you have to cover less space? You're not running full speed. You know what I'm saying? Like it's almost just a run play. Like it's an extended sort of run play, right?
Yeah.
Because if you're a corner or if you're a secondary player, you're used to these moments anyway, where if that running back breaks the front seven, well, this is the same exact thing, kind of like in my mind. You know what I mean? So,
well, what do you do with all your guys? Do they all equally charge as soon as, or does some guys stay back?
Dude, I don't freaking know, man. This is blowing my simple mind.
Stay back. I mean, it's just like anytime when when it was the traditional, everybody's running down. There's some guys faster and some guys slower, and I'm sure they organize them a certain way where they're not all getting there at the exact same time. And if he makes one guy miss, two guys, then he's gone. So it's just, I think what's cool is that it's so new that no one knows what to expect. It's so exciting. Like people always say, well, why do it's the same game over and over. And I'm like, no, but every game is different. It's nuanced. There's so many details. Well, this is a massive difference. This is a huge, huge change that nobody really knows. But as Oreo Cookie brought up, and this was my really next question is, what about the sneak onside kick? There's no such thing as the surprise onside kick. Does that bother you at all?
Nah. I feel like the rules were set up to where onside kick was kind of becoming obsolete. Like we didn't see any. When's the last time you saw fireworks, true fireworks from an onside kick?
The Super Bowl.
Right. So it's been
the Super Bowl when the Colts got
That's what I'm saying. It's been a long time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But I'll never forget that ever.
Yeah. No,
They start the second half with a surprise freaking onside kick. I remember they kicked it to what was his name? Hank Baskins. And it was while he was shooting that reality show with the Playboy chick, and they had a reality show, and he's like a sixth receiver on the team, and they kick it right to this dude, and he boofs it straight up into the air, and then he got absolutely crucified for forever. So that's a perfect example of not a New Orleans fan, not a Colts fan. I remember that play vividly. Right. Because it was so unique and so exciting. And in that regard, it's a little bit of a bummer that it's going.
But that was also a long time ago, Glenn.
And
like you're back in the vault, man.
I'm going back in the vault. That's like early. I mean, that's probably late 2000s.
So is it 08? Right? Yeah, 08, 09, something like that. So is it worth the trade of a once in a 16 years or whatever?
Right. That's true. That's true.
You know, to maybe some more excitement. Yeah. I don't know. I just feel like they changed. They started making small changes and they tinkered with it too much to it became more of a spectacle than an actual, potential advantage for anyone.
That's true. And really it took the failures of someone to ever work out. Like it almost always, you had to have someone just totally blunder for it to work out in your favor.
It's going to be really interesting to see. I mean, I think we kind of attacked it at all angles, but it'll be interesting to see who's returning it. It'll be interesting to see how it's defended. Like, who will be the guys that are out there? If it's a smaller space, I don't know. I could be thinking about this totally wrong, but if you are the receiving team and it is a smaller space, like if the kicking team is already right up on you, do you put more offensive linemen up there?
I'm thinking.
Like you take your reserve linemen and say, get in there.
But I mean, does the other team counter by backpedaling when the ball is caught?
Yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? Let's put a chair on these big boys,
right?
Yeah,
because it's about keeping that guy in front of you.
Yeah, man.
Ooh, it's gonna be interesting. But I don't like, to your point though, I don't like the idea of Justin Tucker out there.
Nope.
Worrying about tackling, using mental energy toward tackling. No, dude.
I don't want him putting on muscle mass to worry about tackling. Right. I don't know how a thicker thigh might affect, that boot going through the uprights there. Right. I don't know. I don't know how this works, but as far as I know, Oreo, punts are still the same as far as I'm concerned. Yeah, I think all that.
Yeah, maybe Stout ends up being the guy.
He's a big boy.
Yeah, he's much bigger.
Boy. Yeah.
And low key. No, not knocking you, but a little less valuable.
Yeah.
Oh. Like no knock.
Hold on, low key. There ain't nothing low key
about
that. No,
but I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad punter. Is my point.
No, but Justin Tucker, as far as guys you don't want to get hurt, ranks pretty high on that.
It
list.
Is what it is, right? Sorry.
Really, every kicker. I mean, think about it. There's not 32 quality NFL kickers in the world. There's not, and we see it every year by guys grabbing.
Kicker,
dude. You could have done it, Jimbo.
I know. Pisses me off.
You know what I'm saying? I know.
I'm already training Henry for it.
Hey, there you go. You go. But yeah, I mean, I just think if there's not 32 good ones right now, how many guys are willing to risk if they do have a good one? Like it seems like there's some strategy. There's definitely going to be
one more thing. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, what's
how many more Aussie guys end up coming over here? Right, like when I was at the University of Utah has a pipeline of Aussie guys that play Aussie style football, and the guys that kick it are much more involved as players, right? Like they're closer to normal players. They don't just do that. And so like our kicker was phenomenal, but the NFL stayed away from him. Our punter, I guess at that point was phenomenal, but he could place kick and he could punt.
Yeah,
but he was crazy athletic. I mean, he was a big dude.
Yeah, I think you're spot on.
That will be interesting too, right? Like that's going to be wild.
Well, I think we've already started to see that. Didn't we just see somebody get signed over from that? I can't remember the team, but
no, I think you're thinking of the returner, right? I guess kind of the same thing based on the rule changes. Who was it? from Australia. I think he's from England. He's a big time rugby player.
Yeah, exactly. That's who I was thinking of. Yeah,
I don't remember what team he went to. Was it the Niners? No, that was a long time ago. The Niners picked up a guy. It was the Chiefs. The Chiefs did.
It was the Chiefs. Okay.
Yeah, I knew it was a red team. But yeah, it'll be interesting, dude. Ultimately, where do you think John will fall on the curve of this thing?
I mean, I think he'll be ahead of the curve because he has a good mix of being the old school attention to detail special teamers at heart, but having a young guy leading the group. And I think, those two minds together will be on the cutting edge, but it's going to be a copycat league. Somebody's going to figure something out and everyone's going to copy it. And then someone else is going to figure something out and everybody's going to copy that. It's just is, kind of always how it's always been and probably how always will be. But yeah, I want to talk about a little bit of other stuff here too, Jimbo. We heard from a couple other guys. We did get a bit of an injury update from Harbaugh, as much as you could hope for. He mentioned that Marlon Humphrey will be back at practice in not full go. He wouldn't commit to, full go, but did say he will be back at mandatory minicamp next week, which is big because next week is not voluntary. This is all the whole team is going to be there, iron sharpening iron. So it'll be nice to see Marlon back out there in a big season for him. A lot of people have high expectations. Some are ready to get him out of here. I'm hoping for a big year. Also, rookie Adisa Isaac is expected to likely make his return to practice for the mandatory mini camp, as well as they're hopeful that safety Bo Braid, the undrafted rookie out of Maryland, will make it back as well. Haven't heard much about anyone else. That's all that Coach was willing to share today. But it's good news that Ajabo's back as well, even though he was only doing some one-on-one stuff and working with trainers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm,
yep.
So
trying to turn a new leaf here.
Yeah, be nice.
I just don't want to hear anything until the pads are on.
And he gets through an entire practice.
Like, dude, come on, man. I mean, no knock on you, but bro, let's do this.
Hey, you see this, Jimbo? Oreo went on a 2-mile run today.
Let's go, baby.
That's it.
Let's do it. The sweat and buckets is just weakness leaving the body. Wasn't that like an old? Oh, that was pain. Pain is weakness leaving the body, right?
Yeah,
sweat is weakness leaving the body. How about that? There you go.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it, dude. You're sweating off the Oreos, bro.
That's all. That's all that is. That's all that is. Andrew Vorhees also made his return to the podium, and it's been quite some time.
That was funny when he hopped on the podium. He's like, "Well, first time I've done this, so hello everybody."
Yeah, like, do you start? Do I start? How's this thing go?
Yeah. It's crazy because he's been on. He drafted. He's been over a year now. He's been with the Ravens, but
not a whole lot behind the microphone.
No.
But he did say that he's basically spent his whole first season in the weight room, which, I mean, I'll be honest, Jimbo, it got me excited. I mean, I got to thinking, this guy just did what with a torn knee? And then he just spent his entire last year in the weight room getting stronger. Like,
yeah,
am I wrong for allowing myself to get a little excited about what Andrew Vorhees could be as a player?
No, I mean, I think I'm excited as well. You hear him and you get even more excited, but you have to be cautiously optimistic, right? Only because of the injury history. Not that I think he can absolutely turn into a great talent, a really reliable starter. I mean, I don't really know where his ceiling is, and I don't want to cap it, but I think he can be really good. He's gotta stay healthy, man. That's what we're hoping for. And of course, when a guy's got a history like that, it just makes you a little nervous. But I'll tell you what, Glenn, if he can hold down the left guard spot and be an up, I don't know if this is possible, but if he can be an upgrade from Simpson, man, can you imagine what that would do for our team? Like everyone talks about everyone talks about getting the big name wide receiver. Everyone's talking about Derrick Henry, and that's awesome. Like I'm stoked for Derrick Henry, but the way that you magnify the value of a Derrick Henry is by a guy like Vorhees stepping up, right? Like just that could so change the trajectory of this team.
No doubt. If that guy can just show out and Ben Cleveland can take the next step that Ben Powers took and even John Simpson to a degree, when you look at the contract he was able to secure himself, that would be a big, I mean, you talk about the strength there with Ben Cleveland and Vorhees and I mean, those are two very, very strong gentlemen. I mean, it's pretty exciting to see.
Ben just got to play strong.
Yeah, exactly.
Got to
Exactly.
play strong. But you're not wrong. I mean, so much strength there. It'll be funny to see them between, to see Linderbaum between the two of them.
Yeah, them kind of bookending him. And by the way, Linderbaum clearly the best of all three. Like,
yeah. And certainly the one that would win in a fight. I don't care how big Ben Cleveland is.
Yeah, I mean, Vorhees seems like a tough SOB, but I wouldn't want no parts of Linderbaum, dude.
No. As soon as he gets his hands on you, you're done.
Over.
You have no chance. I mean, zero chance.
It's absolutely over, no doubt. Yeah. We also heard from rookie Roger Rosengarten, who was asked about the return of the vets because he said, they said, what's the difference between rookie mini camp and these OTAs since the vets have been here? He said, it's a big difference. These vets know the nuances, they know the playbook inside and out, they know how to make it work for them. And he was asked about who's been the most challenging. He said, of course, Adafe, but also the very next name he brought up was Malik Cunningham. And I know, we loved what we saw at him, and maybe it's like I'm always torn. It's like, am I being too homer? Am I being when I'm talking about a guy who's was a huge long shot last year? But every time we saw him, Jimbo, he was impressive. Like I couldn't just excuse that away with me being a homer. What are you expecting out of Malik Cunningham? Anything at all, or are you just hoping for something?
I don't think I'm hoping. I do have some expectations.
Okay.
I have some expectations for Malik Cunningham, but I got to be I have much larger expectations for Robinson.
Okay.
To make a big leap. But I'm excited to see what Ham can do, and I expect him to get out there and show off some improved strength, technique, and make an impact. I mean, look, if this dude turns up 4-6 sacks, that would be monstrous for this team.
Yep.
But I don't know. I mean, I do have some expectations for him because I think he, just like we kind of talked about Vorhees, I think he can be a wild card. I don't think you're being too much of a homer because we've seen him do things that are exciting, that get the coaches excited. Obviously, they forced him to put him on the roster.
Yep.
So, he forced them to put him on the roster. So, I got some expectations for him. You?
Yeah.
It's not all house money now.
Dude, I love, first of all, I know he's undersized, but he uses that lack of height to his advantage by getting underneath the guys and getting around the edge. And I can't forget what he did in that joint practice. Like
he's strong. You can tell he's just strong.
Man. And he's got the burst that you need if you're not going to be a super big guy. Like I'm excited about him. I just hope he can stay healthy because watch out for the surprise.
Dude, you're right. Auto leverage too, right? Like
automatically every time because he's
squatty.
He's built that way. It's just so I'm excited and it was cool to hear what Roger said. As Tanya brings up, haven't been hearing a lot of good things out of Lele thus far, very very early and all that, but it seems like Roger certainly has the opportunity here to take a hold of this offensive right tackle job.
Yeah, I'm not ready. I mean, I agree with you. I think Rosengarten gets the job. I'm also not ready to throw the baby out with the bathwater with Falele, only because, look, first of all, what if Cleveland pees the bed, right? There could be a chance that, because I think, if I'm not mistaken, Falele's played some guard.
It's been a while.
It has, but I think we've seen him out there playing guard. Maybe it was only in the preseason, but I think we've seen him out there, if I'm not mistaken. I could be misremembering, but I'm pretty sure.
I think his value, even if Roger starts,
is a backup
still
tackle.
As the back. Yeah, as a backup.
And your
tackle.
swing.
Yeah, because you never know. McCary could be in at left guard or
left tackle with Ronnie.
Yeah.
Right. You just don't know what kind of, but I still, once again, I still have some hope for Falele. I'm
got
not
a soft
ready to
spot for Falele. That's your guy.
No, for sure.
Okay, he's your guy. It's all right.
No, yeah, but dude, he's just so athletic and big
and gigantic.
Like he's got to be able to do.
He's a different athletic than Rosengarten. Like he's a different, different athletic in that he's just so.
But if you watch him and Cleveland move, he moves so much better than Cleveland.
He's smoother, way smoother,
and it's wild. It's just wild because he's a huge human.
It's
so like watching a whale swim through the water.
Yeah, it's like.
You mean like they make it look effortless, but then they get up by the boat and you're like, I am nothing.
Me and Jimmy got a pretty good look at some whales,
dude,
off the coast of Maine.
Literally, I'm pretty sure we both feeling the same thing. Like, I'm literally a speck.
A city bus was doing acrobats in the water in front of us. It's basically
and maybe
what we saw.
multiple city buses. Like,
remember the baby too?
Dude,
the baby was right there.
Crazy. That was wild. Poor mom had her, remember, back fin from the propeller?
Yeah, it got clipped up.
She didn't care.
Yeah, it was no. Out there getting things done. But also want to go over a couple highlights.
Wait, really quickly, do you remember this line? This is not normal behavior.
Yeah, dude. I mean, it was an exciting. That was exciting. Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun trip, but not for my wife and my son. But other than,
hey, they stuck in there, man.
Other than about 80% of the boat who was throwing up, it was a great time.
And Tanya's just back on land, like hanging out, eating croissants, and just chilling, living life,
just taking in the scenery. I'll never forget the girl with the Cheetos that was standing behind you as we were on our way out. And them Cheetos came right back up. I was like, no, get away. It was so gross. But anyway, I want to get into some highlights here with you. And I keep seeing this name. And I keep seeing this name. And it's not like I'm seeing it from the Ravens app or the Ravens social media. I'm seeing this from reporters who are not paid by the team to try and prop up a name or try and, anything like that. Every day I see something about Malik Cunningham, and apparently he had another stellar practice. He caught everything his way outside of, I think he said he had maybe one drop today, but outside of that, he caught everything, was doing everything right. The small things included. Is this like, what do we make of Malik Cunningham's role in this team, if there is one?
Yeah, I honestly, Glenn, usually have some sort of opinion about everything.
Yeah.
I have no idea. Just none. Because you start to wonder, like, how much wide receiver has he played in the past? Like, how many translatable skills has he picked up in his life that make this possible? I don't think it's impossible if you have a certain level of athleticism and commitment and grit and things like that. But you're talking about the NFL here. So I just don't know, Glenn. I really don't know. I mean, it would be an excellent story, right?
It'd be so cool.
But I don't know, man. I don't know. I wish I had a more definitive answer.
Well, I think what we'll see is we'll learn a lot in training camp when he's playing against vets. Helmets are on, pads are on. There'll be actual contesting at the catch point, whereas right now there's not. We're gonna see. But if he can develop himself into just a football player, no longer just a quarterback,
right,
but a football player, a guy that helps on special teams, obviously helps as a wide receiver, but is available for the potential trick play is all I'm saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, are they all just, is this all for the perfect moment? Remember the Titans when they're bringing in a backup quarterback. Yep. Why are they bringing in a backup quarterback? The play of the game, and then they run. He doesn't throw it. He runs the reverse and runs out of the field. DK is asking if they're propping him, if they prop him up. Wait, and if they are trying to prop him up, are the Ravens down on someone in the wide receiver room that they want Cunningham to supplant?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good question, but I don't think they'd be down on, like, put it this way, if James Prochet was still here, then yeah, I'd say they're getting rid of that guy. But
did he get re-signed by the Browns?
I think he did, but
how? Remember after he biffed the punt here in Baltimore?
Yeah, dude, once a Raven, baby.
That's right, double agent. Let's go. We still lost that game.
Yeah, that's true. But I do think if Malik Cunningham is able to do it, is successful, it's a win for the team. So I don't think they would be opposed to it, but it's definitely a wait and see. Let's see what happens when he there you go. Trade bait, says Sedarian. Yeah, let's let him show out in the preseason and trade him for a fifth round pick.
Fifth rounder.
Sounds perfect. But
wait,
also
Benvick never played in the league, right? Like, didn't he get
he get jumped? He got jumped and it was never right. Yeah. He went down. Dude, don't stay out past 12 o'clock, certainly in Baltimore. Just don't do it.
Especially, you're not even from, like,
he's not even from where he was.
Right? Like, bro.
He didn't have the street smarts required to navigate the streets of Baltimore late at night, which not many do, in fact. But Mark Andrews also had a fantastic practice today. Did have one rep where Roquan was able to break up the pass, but Yeah, he was having his way in a practice where there was no Marlon Humphrey, no Brandon Stevens, no Arthur Marlette, and no Kyle Hamilton. By the way, all these highlights are courtesy of Kyle Phoenix on Twitter, because I wasn't there, not allowed, but he is. So we're thankful for his reporting. Also, Pepe had an interception on Josh Johnson today during the red zone work, which was pretty cool. And apparently the defense was able to confuse Josh Johnson with an audible just before the throw. So not a ton of notes coming out here as far as the highlights, but does say that there was a chippy, spirited practice today. Lots of jawing across the line of scrimmage between the offense and defensive sides. Near the end of practice, Charlie Kohler, Q's guy, caught a touchdown pass during a red zone play and celebrated by punting the ball across midfield. I'm not sure how John feels about those kind of celebrations, but pretty cool nonetheless that he's out there making plays in a very crowded and talented tight end room.
Yeah, we'll see what happens with old Charlie Kohler. Any notes on Kadir?
On Kadir? Oh, I didn't see anything on Kadir on my screen. I don't know.
I'm just intrigued by his size, speed, and athleticism,
Oh, I guess that's another guy competing with Malik Cunningham, right?
Big time. And it's crazy to think, like, even the quarterbacks we have that turn to wide receivers aren't tall. We just can't get tall wide receivers. Not that 6'1" isn't tall, but relative to quarterbacks.
Right. No, you're right.
You know, and Kadir walks in 6'6".
Dude, tall drink of water.
Yeah, you ain't kidding, bro. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see as well. But yeah, man, it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens in camp. Any of this stuff got you excited about any upcoming battles for camp, anything like that?
Yeah, I'm interested to see how Roger can get tested in camp with Kyle Van Noy arriving, obviously Adafe, Malik Ham. I got high hopes for this guy. I mean, I said that he's my guy. If there's going to be an all-pro out of the group, that's the guy. I think he's that talented. He seems super mature. I'm excited about that. But also, I can't wait for these corners to go up against our wideouts. Like, I mean, how cool is it going to be to see Nate Wiggins versus Zay Flowers and TJ Tampa against Rashad Bateman and Tez Walker? And I can't wait for the one-on-ones, the 7-on-7s, and of course the red zone work is going to be an absolute blast. But yeah, there's quite a few matchups. How about you?
Yeah, no, the only thing I was going to say, you were talking about it, but I thought it was pretty funny. Oh, the no knock on the Ravens website, but I saw the title was I might be biffing this, but it's basically with Pepe's interception, how can he change the depth of the cornerback room? So I was like, okay, so you're taking, not discrediting him, so you're taking one interception from OTAs with no pads, and you're saying
shaking up the depth chart, baby.
Yeah, you know what I mean? It's like, okay, hold on. Let's put some brakes on the hype train. I do think we've talked about it. We love Pepe, as a player. That's not my point, right? My point is all right, guys, a little premature here, right? But I do wonder, as if him evolving as a player, because he can play in the slot. We've seen, a lot of people have kind of plugged him in there. So that will be another opportunity for us to gain some flexibility, gain some depth. As Wiggins comes around, as Tampa comes around, stuff like that. So I'm just excited to see what Pepe can do in camp and kind of how the cornerback room shakes out. A lot of young guys in there, man.
Yeah, where's Ardarius fitting that for you?
Right. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still see him more. I mean, I guess you lump the DBs in together, but I don't really put him in that pool of corners.
He's certainly competing for slot.
Yeah. No, I mean, definitely he's there because that's a part of his skill set, and also way he's going to get on the field. But I don't know, man. He might be a little saturated right now because of Wiggins' presence can easily push Marlon inside. And then it's Pepe, okay.
Arthur Marlette is balled out in the slot last year. Can't forget about what that guy's doing. But yeah, it's going to be a fun camp nonetheless. It'll be nice to see mandatory, where we'll see all the rookies and the veterans all mixed in. All those who are healthy will be on the field participating. Can't wait to get some of the highlights that come out of there and maybe hear from a few guys that we haven't heard from yet this season, or maybe ever, as maybe some new Ravens get a chance to talk to the media. But I think that's it for all my notes. Any news and notes that I may have missed, Jimbo?
No. I mean, I think the only thing you missed was, well, we're gonna get to it. You didn't miss it. You just
that's right. Yeah, let's get into it, dude. Let's get into
DK, throw this up on the screen because we got to talk about this
goofball.
madness.
This clown.
Yeah. So, all right, let's play this, DK. Can we do that? Oh, Nick.
Yesterday on TV, you said your top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL are Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Stroud, with the 5th spot up in the air. Nick's 5th best quarterback is.
I'd probably go Caleb, but if you guys don't want me to put a rookie, I'll say Stafford. And I know people think I'm being disrespectful to Lamar. I'm just being honest.
What exactly does Lamar need to do to be a top 5 quarterback?
I mean, I don't know. Not every single year of the worst game of his season in the playoffs.
Wait, what'd you say?
Sorry.
What did you say?
Every single year of his career. I mean, he scored more than 10 points in a home conference championship game. I don't know. I like Lamar. I root for Lamar. If I'm being honest, do I think he's one of the 5 best quarterbacks in football? I don't.
Trust. Yesterday on TV, you said your top
let's
5.
Back this up for a second. Let's go to his list because his logic is faulty. Josh Allen, he's had good games in the playoffs, but it's not like Josh Allen hasn't choked plenty, hasn't got outdueled plenty by Patrick Mahomes and others, right? Like, this is just simply ridiculous. CJ Stroud, what did he do in his first playoff stint? Didn't they score 10 points here?
Yeah, not a whole lot in Baltimore.
And then you're going to put Caleb Williams and Matthew Stafford, who's on the back 9. Let me tell you what, Matty Stafford can sling the rock.
Yeah,
he's not, at this point in his career, a top 5 quarterback. And Caleb Williams has never snapped the football in his life in the NFL. Stop the madness. I mean, look, if you want to put Mahomes number 1, sure. But Lamar Jackson, to me, doesn't fall anywhere under 2. Mm-hmm. He is simply, and you can look, he's simply the most valuable singular football person in the NFL. With Lamar Jackson, you can do more and go further with less, is what I believe, than anyone else. And you can put Patrick Mahomes in there. I just believe you can put Lamar out there with a ton of no-names, and he'll get you 10 wins. Patrick Mahomes is
doubt about it.
But I think Lamar's dynamic makes him so valuable as a player. This is just outrageous to me.
It's just, this guy's. I don't even know if I can take it seriously. I mean, it's such a goofy thing to say. You talk about a playoff performance, and yet you name a rookie who's never snapped the ball, and you name a CJ Stroud who just got. I mean, they got destroyed by Lamar Jackson. Right. So it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. He always says, I like Lamar, but then blasts him.
Yeah.
I've never heard him say anything really. He's always been on the bad end when talking about Lamar, and other people have been arguing with him or defending Lamar. So I just hate it when guys go, well, I like him.
Yeah, you don't like him because
him every time.
He doesn't like him. He doesn't root for him because he's a Chiefs fan. But let me tell you what. I'm going to say this early. The other shoe always drops. And you better believe that today, tomorrow, the next day, the whole hype train and the whole situation that the Chiefs got going on will change. And remember how, dude, obviously we went to the game where the Ravens won. They would score touchdowns and the Chiefs fans would golf clap. Like they're expecting this. Stop it. Stop with the madness. You obviously don't like the Ravens. You obviously don't like Lamar. If you're a Chiefs guy, he's the same guy that said Rice is better than Zay Flowers.
Did he? Is that him? Okay.
Yes. Stop.
Well, I mean, the guy's an absolute goofball. But when did CJ Stroud? Like CJ Stroud had a great year, but when did people were putting him above Lamar Jackson? Like, is that really CJ Stroud, who, like you said, scored 10 points in that playoff game and had 175 yards, no touchdowns. I mean, he had no picks, but he had no touchdowns.
Can we also say that Lamar Jackson came into his rookie year without an offensive system set up for him, and all he did was basically run the table and win the division? It's not like Lamar took a lot of time to get going either. He took off in his rookie year. Who knows what would happen to Lamar if he started week 1? We just weren't in that situation.
His worst game. He said, he went on. He said, "Hey, his worst game every year in the playoffs." Take that down real quick for me, DK. I want to throw this up here. This was his playoff game last year against CJ Stroud, who he had above him. You tell me.
No impact. CJ Stroud had no impact in this game.
Look at Lamar. He had 2 touchdowns passing. He had 2 more touchdowns on the ground, 100 yards in the air. 150 in the air, 100 yards or more on the ground. 0 turnovers. Like, what are we talking about here?
Yeah,
like,
you know who could have had this stat line, Glenn? Every backup quarterback in the NFL could have had that stat line. 19 for 33, 175, no turnovers. Okay, so all you did good was not turn the ball over.
Yeah, you did nothing to change the game in a positive light. You just didn't nothing to absolutely tank and kill the game, but you didn't help. Like, I just think it's a goofy thing.
Who's the dude from the Eagles? No, not the Eagles. Sorry, he played for the Browns or the Bears. He played everywhere. Chase Daniels, is that his name?
Oh yeah,
he was like a forever backup.
Yep.
Like that was a Chase Daniels numbers.
That's a Chase Daniels line right there.
Stop. This is ridiculous. And look, people can say whatever they want about Joe Burrow and going to the, he's been to the Super Bowl once, been to the AFC Championship game twice. All that's great. But if you're really going to compare singular players, it's fair. I'm not the guy that says Lamar has nothing. I'm not going to believe that. But like, I don't say that. I think the Ravens do a lot to build around Lamar. But come on, man. Like, what would Joe be in that 19 offense? Certainly not the MVP.
Never in life. He would have been, it would have been bad, bro.
Yeah, I mean, come on, dude. This is just wild to me. It's just,
Lamar had something to say. Lamar had a response.
Oh, did he?
He had a response. See it. This is Lamar's response to Nick Wright.
Oh, man. That's great. And I tell you what, it doesn't help. Dude, whoever told him to do the long hair and the beard, somebody doesn't like him.
Yeah, Lamar obviously not thrilled with the comment, but also not really that busted up about it because he immediately makes light of it. But no, it's a goofy comment. It's a clickbaity comment. There's no way he really believes it. So let's move on to the last portion of the show. Let's hear some rapid fire from old. All right, let's do it, DK. Here. Oh, boy. Let's see what we got for tonight. Let's see what DK's got for us. He says, 1, Marlon Humphrey gets a pet tiger. What does he name his pet tiger? What does he name him?
Tiny.
I could see that. That's a good one.
Or like Fluffy.
I'm going to say Joe Burrow. You know what I'm saying? Name him Joe and then get rid of him.
Oh my God.
Mistreat him and then send him packing. No, that's
Glenn's not condoning animal negligence over here.
No.
Okay.
Don't feed him and then send him on his way.
You don't feed him, all of a sudden he's gonna start wanting to eat you. Dude. You gotta look out.
You gotta feed him a little bit. Yeah, you gotta feed him a little bit. I'm gonna go with Joey B though. That's mine.
All right, cool. I'm going with Tiny or Fluffy.
Okay, Fluffy.
Absolutely. Okay, which neighborhood in Baltimore would you recommend a new Raven move to if they wanted to live it up?
That'd be a question more for Jimmy than me. I'm not really.
It depends on. I mean, Canton is a great. Like Canton's a lot of fun. I think that would. It's weird. Like if you're talking about a rookie, like I think Canton's probably a little too old. Nah, maybe not. Fed is like the place to be though. Like if you're a bachelor. Like there's a ton of bachelors and this is like Bachelorland as well in Canton, but there's more families. Like I would say it's a 50-50 mix. Fed Hill is just wild. So I'd say Fed Hill for sure.
Fed Hill. I don't even have an opinion. I have no idea. I would just defer to Jimbo. That's what.
But I tell you what, all of it is way too wild for me. I'm an old man.
Yep.
I've always been this way. I'm not a late nighter.
Nope.
It's not my. Yeah. It's just. Yeah. I just get headaches, dude.
Yeah, like, it's too many flashing lights, too much bass.
Right. Music's too loud, too many flashing lights. Just get headaches. That's all it is. Look, I consider it a sign of love to my wife if we go to a concert together because my head just hurts the whole time.
Have you been to a concert with her?
Oh yeah, we've been to a good bit.
What is your most enjoyable concert that you went to with your wife?
Oh, we went to go see Born. And I guess my favorite one was Bishop Briggs in Philly. That was awesome.
Is that a band or a person?
The name of
it's a person.
It's a band.
Okay.
But she's the only singer.
She's like Bon Jovi.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Okay.
So she's the only vocalist.
Gotcha. Okay.
But she lit it up. It was awesome. I actually
Wow.
really enjoyed myself, so that was cool.
Never heard of her.
Yeah, no, she's good.
I'm not a big music guy.
No, I'm not. It doesn't really.
Never have been.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
I enjoy it, but
yeah, my wife could do music all day, like on a road trip. I'm like, dude, I need a book. I need a podcast.
Yep.
Tell me a story. Don't sing me a song.
Yeah, like how people get hype about like songs. I could just give me a good speech, bro.
Dude, I'm so with you. So legitimately, I listen to speeches, like super motivating speeches, while I run races.
I can see that. I do. Just put the president from Independence Day talking about before he gets in that jet, bro. Put that in my ear, and I'm running forever. What's the last one here, DK? What do you got? Who is the starting member of the Ravens who would most likely go unnoticed in a crowd?
Outside of Baltimore, it would certainly be Justin Tucker.
What's Nick Moore look like?
Yeah, that's a good one.
Our long snapper. I got to imagine.
And probably Patrick Ricard.
I mean, I got to imagine our Darius Washington could walk into a room and no one knows
that's a good one. But he's not a starter, right?
Oh, that's true. That's true. Starter. Yeah,
Brandon Stevens.
No, Pat Ricard you're going to know because it's the size of a refrigerator.
Yeah, I can see Brandon Stevens flying under the radar just because he's not like super vocal. He's kind of come onto the scene late.
Yeah.
I can kind of see that.
How about Fa'alele if he makes right tackle?
Not a chance. Not a chance.
All right, that was a joke.
Linderbaum too. I mean, he's not as big as Pat. He's not that strikingly large.
Yeah. No, that's a good point. I would go Nate Wiggins too. I think Nate, he's just so, maybe because he's thin and
he like fits in size wise and
he just seems like a big normal guy. But hey, quick question. I think I might have asked you this before, but I saw it resurface again. A link between Calais Campbell coming back to the Ravens.
Yeah, I say do it. That'd
The
be
price
fun.
is right. You like it?
Yeah, if the price is right, for sure. Yeah. I mean, look, Calais is going to fight. He's going to be available. He's relatively durable. He's going to be a good leader. Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with it. And he's still productive as a player.
Yeah. He would.
It's not Calais of old, but he's still productive in the run game. He's weapon and field goals. Yeah, I say do it.
Give Roquan maybe a week or two off of the pregame speeches because
yeah, exactly. I think that Calais is still better than 70% of his cohort.
Got it.
You know what I mean? Don't you think so?
Yeah. Well, and he didn't have an unhealthy year, so yeah. Bring him in if the price is right.
We're Vindicator's fan.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Awesome.
Couple of hours. But that's it for us tonight, guys. Right. But make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed the show. Hit the notification bell, and we will keep you up to date on all your Ravens news. But that's it for us tonight. Have a good one.
See ya.